well. Hey, good morning, everybody. It's great to be in North Dakota with my friend John Hoven, who did a lot of hard work to help us get the big, beautiful bill across the finish line. So, to everybody in North Dakota in particular, and everybody watching this, happy Independence Day, of course. It's a great 4th of July. What do you think you're looking at?
It'll be nice.
It's going to be a nice day. Thrilled to be here with our family. This is actually my first time in North Dakota, so I'm particularly excited about this trip. And let me just say a couple of words about the big, beautiful bill, and then I'll turn it over to John, and then we'll take a few questions. So, in sum, what this bill does is provide the biggest tax cuts to working Americans in a generation. It provides much needed over $140 billion to ICE to secure that southern border. Of course, the Biden border invasion opened that border. We've got to close it down, which we've done, but we've also got to actually ensure that over the next 3.5 years, we keep that border secure. These resources make it possible to do that. So an important part of the president's agenda, no taxes on tips, no taxes on overtime, securing the southern border. We're thrilled to get it done. And of course, to do it the day before the 4th of July is a great testament to the entire team effort. From John Hoven and our Senate colleagues to the Speaker and our friends in the House to, of course, the President of the United States. I was a little skeptical we would be able to get this done by July 4th, but here we are. The President's going to sign the bill this evening, and that's a great testament to all the people who worked so hard on it, including Senator Hoven. Senator.
Vice President, great to have you here
Yeah.
in North Dakota. Welcome to you and to your family. You're going to have a great time out here in western North Dakota, and you're going to love it. I got to just tell a little story. Of course, I saw Vice President Vance earlier this week, and it started about 4 in the morning, Monday morning, because we had to bring him up to the Senate because we were getting right down to it. We'd been on the floor for, I don't know, maybe 20 hours by that time. We were bunched. Leader Thune doing a magnificent job, but we were bunched to get this thing over the finish line. We brought the Vice President in. It must have been 4 or 5 in the morning. He was in those negotiations to get this thing done. So he didn't just provide the deciding vote. He actually helped put this together. We had to have a contingency plan to get some members to move off the dime. And without it, who knows? But he was there, and because he'd been in the Senate, we all know him, we trust him, we like him, he was able to help us get this deal done. And so big credit, obviously, to President Trump, who was in the negotiation all the way, but big credit to Vice President Vance. We needed him. He came through. You were there till noon.
That's right. I was there till noon. Look, it was a team effort. I appreciate John's kind words, but it was a team effort, and it's most importantly great for the American people. So we're thrilled to be able to get it done, and now you can have a nice 4th of July here in the beautiful state of North Dakota, and so can I. Questions?
What brings you to North Dakota for the 4th?
I'm sorry?
What brings you to North Dakota for the 4th of July?
Well, it's a part of the country I haven't been to, and I'm the Vice President of the whole United States, and so I thought it'd be great to come and actually get a sense of what makes North Dakota such a beautiful place and such an interesting place. So I just personally wanted to come. We already had plans to be in South Dakota for the 4th of July celebration last night, and so figured it would be a pretty easy trip. One of the things I know very, very personally growing up in a part of the country that sometimes gets ignored and left behind is that a lot of times states like this don't get as much attention from national leadership. So I thought, what better day than the 4th of July to come to North Dakota and show people we care about them, we're rooting for them, and there are a lot of good things in this bill that are going to be great for the people of North Dakota.
Mr. Vice President, you have a lot of supporters in North Dakota, many of whom agree with the need to shrink government spending. However, they are concerned about cuts like those that threaten the Minot Job Corps Center, which provides job training to North Dakotans entering the workforce. How is the administration monitoring the impact of funding cuts in small communities like those in North Dakota?
One of the things that's very true about the President of the United States that I think the national media in particular doesn't appreciate is that he makes a reform, he sees how it plays out, and he's always willing to have a conversation in order to make things even better. What we saw with this bill, I think, is a really significant and meaningful effort to rein in spending, to, of course, give working families some tax relief, and like we said, to sort of build on our border reforms. But that doesn't mean that in 2 years from now or 3 years from now, we're not going to look at the whole suite of things that we have to do and say, you know what, we need to do a little bit more, or we need to, work a little bit harder to solve this particular problem. That's a great thing about America's constitutional republic is you can work on some problems, you can make things better, but we're always working towards that more perfect union. And so whether it's job training, whether it's border security, whether it's tax relief, I'm sure the president's going to have a lot of ideas in the years to come. The big beautiful bill is a very important step to making our fellow citizens' lives better, but it's hardly going to be the only thing the president works on over the next 3.5 years.
And this is it's a good bill for America, but it's a very good bill for North Dakota.
Yes, it is.
We come out very well in terms of our rural hospitals, a lot of things that for rural states across the country can be a big help.
That's absolutely right.
JD, talking again about the bill, I know the president wanted on his desk today. What did it mean to you to give that tie-breaking vote? And then I know the bill is so voluminous, but one aspect of it, the idea to set up savings accounts for babies in America. As a father yourself, can you explain what this will mean for families in North Dakota?
Yeah, you know, one of the things you see all across our country, unfortunately, is the rise of socialism, which we think is a very destructive ideology. We think it's going to make Americans poorer and more miserable. It's going to mean a lot of hunger and a lot of sadness all across our country. But you know, one of the things the president and I both believe in is that we really want to give people a stake in the future of the economy. The way you fight back against socialism is to make our young people feel like they have a stake in the future. And what these accounts do is actually give people from the minute they're born, they of course can't access it until they're adults, but give them a stake in the great American economy. Allow them to feel like they have a stake in the future. And I think it's going to reduce poverty in this country. I think it's going to give young people a sense like they have a stake in the future. It's just going to be good all around. So I know Senator Cruz and a lot of folks worked very hard on that piece of legislation. The president cared a lot about it. We were thrilled to see it in the final package.
Is there anything about it, the devil in the details, I guess, as far as the biggest challenge is setting something like that up? I mean, even Senator Holden comes from a banking background, but is there anything about it that is harder than it looks?
Look, you've always got to implement this stuff well, and that's one of the things we believe in the Trump administration is you don't just sort of pass a law, you've actually got to work at it and make sure you do it the right way. But I think at the end of the day, we're going to say this is a very important way of giving young Americans, I mean, literal children right now, a stake in the future of their country. It's going to allow people to build wealth. It's going to make it easier for them to actually have a little bit of a nest egg that they can fall back on. There are unfortunately way too many Americans after the 4 years of the Biden economy who are living on less than $500 in their bank account. We want to give our fellow citizens an opportunity to build wealth. What better way to start than from the ground up when they're young children?
This is incredibly good for our farmers and the tax relief for small business. I mean, this is good for families, very good for families.
With the OBD now involved, what benefits can North Dakotans expect to see as it comes to the energy sector, specifically opening up untapped oil?
Right. Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, one of the main reasons why we wanted to do this OPBB, this one big beautiful bill, right, is that we recognize that one, we have incredible energy resources here in North Dakota, in Texas, and South Dakota, all over the United States of America, that a lot of Biden-era regulations have made it harder to access. Now, there's a lot of things that we've done through executive order, through empowering Lee Zeldin at the Environmental Protection Agency to really unleash American energy, but there are so many provisions in this bill that are going to make it easier to invest in oil and gas drilling here in the United States. They're going to make it easier to invest in the next generation of energy in the United States, that will make it easier to build these next generation data centers where you can have a power plant attached to the data center rather than having a power plant that's already on the grid. I think that's going to unleash American power in a way we haven't seen in decades in the United States of America. And North Dakotans, they're the ones who are building the energy future of the United States. But there's a chart I'd point you to, and it really should scare the hell out of every American. It's if you look at the amount of power generated by the United States and the amount of power generated by the People's Republic of China. China has produced a skyrocketing increase in energy. The United States for 30 years has been flat. I think the one big beautiful bill is going to mean we start to produce more energy. That's the key to our future as a country, but a lot of North Dakota energy workers are going to benefit in building that future.
Energy dominance. You're going to see some of that energy dominance here from North Dakota. We're an energy powerhouse, and you said it just right. We're going to do a lot more.
A recent Fox News poll shows that not all voters are sold on the bill yet. Now that it's passed, what is the next step in educating or selling voters on this legislation?
Well, I think things like this, right? We're here talking to you guys. I think when people realize how much this benefits the people of North Dakota, the people of the United States, this bill is going to be very popular. We're going to look back on this, I really do think, as the beginning of the golden age of the United States of America. And remember, it's not just the bill, it's all of the Trump administration policies that form a coherent whole, where we're trying to make it easier to invest and build in the United States of America. We're trying to make it harder to invest outside of the United States of America. We want to build a future for our own people. So I think when you take the one big beautiful bill, the president's tariff policies, our energy policies. What it means is that for the first time in a very long time, we're going in the right direction. Producing more energy, building a future for our people, making it easier to save and invest in the United States of America. We're going to look back on this, I think, as an inflection point where for too long, America's been going in the wrong direction. Now we're going in the right direction. Rome wasn't built in a day, but I think you're going to see a lot of great progress very quickly now that this bill, well, in a few hours, is going to get signed into law.
Minnesota has like a big amount of data centers, some with foreign investors. Do you think that the U.S. federal government should regulate who can build data centers in
Could you
rural USA?
say that a little bit louder for us?
Sorry, okay. So North Dakota has a big amount of data centers, some have foreign investors. Do you think the U.S. federal government should regulate who can build data centers in rural USA?
Well, I want to hear John's views on this too, but look, we want these data centers to be built by Americans and American workers and American companies. You know, these data centers have an incredible importance to the future of the economy. The artificial intelligence boom that we're going to see over the next few years, it really is rooted in these data centers. Impossible to build the AI economy of the future, the digital economy of the future without these data centers. We don't want them built by foreign countries and foreign workers. We want them built by the American people, and that's what this bill makes possible. Makes it easier to build these things, makes it easier to build the power necessary to drive the energy future for these data centers. That's why this bill is so important, is because it will empower Americans to build this stuff once again.
That's right on. We need the energy to build these data centers and the AI, all of these things. We need more energy. That's why this bill is so important, and that's why states like ours that produce baseload energy are going to make the difference so we stay ahead in the race on AI.
Exactly right.
Data centers are reliant on the AI industry. Now, in a recent Wall Street Journal article, several CEOs of major companies in America said that they are seeing a potential 50% reduction in their white-collar workforce because of AI. Do you think that's an accurate assessment, and how do you see AI impacting the American workforce?
So we'll take this as the last question because we're going to hit the road here, and I appreciate you guys. Look, I'm fundamentally optimistic about this stuff. If you go back to the 1970s when the automatic teller machine was created, a lot of people said it was going to destroy bank teller jobs. We actually have more people working as bank tellers. They're just doing something slightly different. They're more productive. They're earning higher wages. I think if you look at the whole history of the American economy, when we lead on technology and innovation, it can cause some disruptions, but it creates more jobs, it creates more growth, and it makes the workers that we have more productive. So I'm not afraid of this, and I don't think Americans should be afraid of the future. You know what I'm afraid of? I'm afraid of foreign countries building that future and not having it built in the United States of America. But if we build it here, we give workers the training that we need, this is going to lead to a boom in the United States of America. Great.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. I'm sorry?
Where are you headed to after this?
You know, you have to ask my staff. I think that we're going to go try to dig up some dinosaur bones, assuming the rain hasn't made it too hard, and we're going to hike in the beautiful state of North Dakota.
Hay Trail, they're going to love it. Can I just say thanks for coming to North Dakota. Thanks for
Absolutely.
your strong leadership. Have a great 4th, everybody, and God bless our veterans.
To everybody watching, happy 4th of July. God bless you, man. Good to see you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, y'all.
Really appreciate it.